During a very brief and unannounced visit to Baghdad today, the Defense Secretary Ash Carter announced the United States will send more than 200 additional U.S. troops to Iraq to serve as advisors and trainers. TAC helicopters are also being sent. We're back with Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois. He's an Air Force pilot, flew missions in both Iraq and Afghanistan. Is this a good idea to start increasing the number of U.S. troops? About 4,000 there now.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to send more. I fear kind of the incrementalism, the idea we're going to just send a few more and the next month it's a few more. That brings back a lot of people's fear of Vietnam. I think really what needs to happen is the president just needs to say, hey, look, or have a determination between 0 troops and, basically World War II level. Somewhere on that spectrum is the amount of force necessary to destroy this threat, and we're going to actually implement that now.
It's really sad to think about it. You served in Iraq. You served in Afghanistan. I went to Iraq. The Secretary of Defense, Ash Carter, he goes there for a few hours. Last week, the Secretary of State, John Kerry, was there. Neither one of them could even spend the night in Baghdad because it's apparently too dangerous. They fly in, they don't announce anything, they meet some troops, they meet some folks, they fly right out, they go to Abu Dhabi or whatever because it's not safe. What does that say to you all these years later that a defense secretary or a secretary of state are not even able to spend the night in Baghdad?
No, it's well said. It hurts. I mean, when I left Iraq the last time in 2009 as a military guy, I mean, it was we had the war basically won. Al-Qaeda, Iraq was almost decimated, and Iraq was a fairly safe place. We can revisit what went wrong after that, but it is sad to see. Now, I'm still hopeful that in the long run, after ISIS is defeated, when the political situation is figured out, that Iraq will be seen eventually as a success story. That's my hope, and that America's sacrifices there will have meant something real.
But the Iraqi military, and you know the Iraqi military, you served there alongside them. The U.S. spent billions and billions of dollars training the Iraqi military, and for now 2 years, they can't even retake the second largest city in Iraq, Mosul, a city where a lot of U.S. troops fought and died to take that city, and all of us, and ISIS is still in control.
Well, I used to land my plane into Mosul just to refuel. Felt totally safe doing it, and I mean, it's sad. And one of the problems we saw with the Iraqi military is you had basically a melting away of good officers, and as with any military, you have to have good leaders, and that didn't happen. It became in essence, secularized or segregated into different kind of whatever you believe, and so that became a problem, and the military melted away. And it's almost like having to rebuild. You have the infrastructure in place, but you don't have the leadership in place, and that's the hope, is to get the leadership in place so that the vast bulk of the fighting can be by the Iraqis, as it should be, to take back.
But because you know Iraq well, you served there. There's the Shiite leadership now, very closely aligned with the Iranian Shiite leadership over there. Then there's Sunnis, don't trust the Shiites in Iraq. Then there's the Kurds, who basically have their own autonomous area right now, and maybe eventually will have their own state. Can Iraq ever really be a unified, democratic place that the U.S. invested so much in to help create after Saddam Hussein?
I think eventually. I think to imagine that somehow they're going to hold hands soon and be, basically as unified as the United States is, probably is not realistic anytime soon. I'm sure the Kurds are going to have some level of autonomy into the future, and there's going to have to be a power sharing agreement between the Shia and the Sunnis. But keep in mind, Iraq looked fairly unified by the time we left. It was when basically all this kind of cancer came in and reignited these tensions. So I think it's something that we can eventually see success in. The one thing we have to be very careful of is there are people that are suggesting just dividing Iraq into 3 places and leaving, into 3 different countries and leaving. That will start basically a fire throughout the Middle East of everybody wanting to be their own independent nation. And keep in mind, there are Sunnis and Shia territory and everything else. I think the result of that would be bad.
It looks like there's a fire in the Middle East right now, North Africa. Even without that, that's going on there. Very quickly on Russia right now, these close encounters that we've seen between these Russian warplanes, U.S. ships. You're a pilot. You understand what's going on. Very disturbing. The president spoke with Putin today. Anything positive going to come out of that conversation?
Well, it's fine when the president speaks to Putin, fine. I guess he didn't even bring up the issue of these aircraft. They said, well, it's happened a lot in the past. Look, this is a serious problem. It's one thing to do a show of force intercept. It's another thing to get within 30 feet of a U.S. naval vessel and a reconnaissance plane. This is going to lead to an escalating conflict if they're not careful. The Russian military is not as good as ours is.
Congressman Kinzinger, thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks.
Adam Kinzinger is a Republican from Illinois. We've got other news coming into the Situation Room. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi everybody, my name is Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. Thank you very much for tuning in. Okay, so I just have to point out what the congressman said here. He says that the mission creep, we send 5,000 troops here and we send another 5,000 troops here, that's reminding people of Vietnam and that's scaring people. No, Congressman, war profiteer, douchebag. You hear him say oh, we need to decide if we need World War II level troops sent over there or no level troops sent over there. What's reminding people of Vietnam is that here we are in another extended war with no end in sight, based on lies, Congressman. You need to get every single U.S. troop out of Iraq now, out of Syria now. Okay, they have no business being there. Everything that we've been told about why we're in Iraq is a complete and utter lie. We all know that, and you act like it's completely valid to have troops over there still, Congressman. No, the reason that this reminds people of Vietnam is because douchebags like you are sending our brothers and sisters to war, to die, to be maimed, so that people who give you money can make big bucks off of war profiteering. That's why this is happening. We need to make war profiteering illegal immediately. The people that have war profiteered the most need to go to prison immediately. People like you, Congressman, who are the gatekeepers, who keep these people. This guy's a veteran, and he'll tell you how much he cares about the troops, and yet he can't wait to send a World War II size shipment of troops over to the Middle East. He's a fucking douchebag profiteer. Guaranteed, the second he leaves Congress, he's going to go to work for probably Lockheed or Boeing, selling the Pentagon shit that we don't want, to profiteer off of your children's children's children for generations to come. That's the only reason that they're in Iraq. The only reason. And he knows it, and he just acts like, oh, this is so important. We have to get this job done here. 13 fucking years in Iraq. You're not going to get the job done, nor do you want to. Things are going exactly the way they want in Iraq. Oh, we got to send another 5,000, another 10,000 troops. Oh, good, we get a profiteer. That means we get a profiteer for a whole nother year at least. You're the scum of the earth. You need to be put in prison in order to protect little children who you think it's okay to use as cannon fodder as long as someone makes money off of it, you sick fuck. Excuse me for being so whatever. I'm kind of passionate about more profiteers and our need to point them out and put them in prison now in order to protect your children's children. Please hear what I'm saying. Okay, so it's a big New York primary night. We're going to have results here coming up soon. There's a clickable link in the text body of this video that will lead you to an alternate Mox News YouTube page. If there's victory speeches tonight that are over 15 minutes, they're going to be posted on this alternate Mox News YouTube page. So if you'd like to make sure not to miss out on stuff like that, there's a clickable link right underneath this video in the text body of the video. It says alternate Mox News YouTube page. Click here. Please do that now and subscribe to that page. That way you won't miss anything. Plus, there's a bunch of good videos on that page if you don't know about it already. Okay? So, thanks for tuning in. My name is Mike. Stay cool. One of these days, this war is going to end.